Oh, I got him! What's up, Tater Nation? I'm Original Tech, and this is Archery and SCUM.
He was a tater boy, he said see you later boy. You're about to die. He said it was just too late as he pulled out his 98. He's about to dot your eye. He was a tater boy, he said see you later boy. You're about to die. He said it was just too late as he pulled out his 98. He's about to dot your eye.
What's up, guys? Original Tech coming at you with yet another instructional video for SCUM. The archery skill and bows were released here just a couple weeks ago, and I've spent some time researching. I've got the distances down pat for the sights on the compound bow and a little bit of insight as to what you need for shooting all of the bows that have been included so far. For today's video, we're going to be concentrating on the 35-pound improvised bow, the 90-pound recurve bow, and the compound bow, as you see on my back here. And we're going to be using carbon arrows simply for the fact that they are durable. I don't have to keep spawning them to show you more shots. The wooden arrow and the metal arrow seem to have basically the same flight travel with the different bows, with the exception of a feathered wooden arrow does have a little bit straighter path over distance. So just keep that in mind, but basically all of the distances that you're going to see are pretty much the same. So just to show you real quick, the 35-pound improvised bow is going to drop fairly quickly. Now this is with a carbon arrow at 10 meters. So we've got a pretty dead on headshot, but I was aiming right at the top of the head. When you come back to 20 meters, you'll see the difference. Just over 10 meters makes a world of difference. That dropped down under the chest line. It's right here, right around where your trachea would be, right at the bottom of your throat. So the improvised bow doesn't have a lot of distance. I am using advanced archery for this video simply so I can hold the bows longer to show you a better shot and shot mechanics. We'll go over that in a little bit of detail here in just a few moments on the differences between drawing a bow and holding it from basic, medium, and advanced levels. So we're going to go ahead and move over to the recurve bow. These bows both use the same dot sight for your crosshair. So it's just going to be something where repetition is going to get you the best shot. You know, practice makes perfect, as the old adage says. So as you see there, that was dead on at 10 meters. And at 20 meters, it's going to be dead on as well. The 90-pound recurve bow is very strong. Once you get back to about 30 meters, this is where you're going to see a difference. And notice I'm shooting very quickly. Even with advanced archery skill, you are going to have less time to release that shot on target with a 90-pound, 100-pound, 80-pound recurve bow. And that's all going to deal with your strengths too, your archery strength and your character's physical strength. But the basic thing that I like to do is I like to line that dot up with my target before I pull back. So I'm basically just focusing in, holding down my aim, my ADS button, pulling back the bow, and then readjusting within a second or two, because I've only got about 3 seconds even with advanced archery. So as you see, at 30 yards, we had a little bit of drop, and we're just going to jump back to 50 because it's just going to keep going in increments. Aim right at the top of the head. See how quickly that was? So that's why I say get your aim down first, readjust as needed, and release the arrow, because it does go very quickly with these stronger bows. So at 50 yards, you'll see aiming right dead center of the head, right about in here. I had about a 6-7 inch drop. Obviously, the lesser poundage the bow is, the less strength it has, so you'll be able to hold it longer. but your flight pattern is going to differ. So if you have, say, a 60-pound recurve bow, your arrow is going to drop much faster. So you have to take that into account when you're using these. If you are going to be doing any kind of hunting or fighting puppets with bows, the recurve is great for that. It is powerful enough to combat with, but I don't suggest using it for combat, just because when people are running, you may not have time to adjust to lead your target or to adjust for arrow drop over distance. They compound, you'll have more time to do that. So the first pin is going to be between 10 and 15 meters on the three pin sight. As you can see there, even at 10 meters, it drops a little bit low. These sights are not perfectly worked out, but they're pretty good. The second pin on the 3 pin sight is going to be at about 30. And this is where the distance comes into play. The third pin on the 3 pin sight is going to be a 125 meter shot. So you want to focus in, draw back your bow, place that third pin on the head at roughly 125 meters, release. But as you can see, at 125 meters, that is a dead headshot. Okay, guys, here we are with the 5 pin sight. So we're at our 10 meter mark. Our top pin, just like the last one, is going to be between 10 and 15 meters. It's going to shoot a little bit lower than your typical mark. So really, you're talking about it like about an 8 meter shot. Now, the difference here, the second pin is going to be right around 20 meters. It's still shooting just a touch lower than where I would like it to be. The third pin is going to be right around 30 meters. And this seems to be the best zero there is. That's dead on at 30 meters, whereas the other two are a little bit short. The fourth pin on the 5 pin sight is going to be where the last pin is on the 3 pin. 125 meters. Now this is where the distance really comes into play. On the 5 pin sight, that bottom pin is set right around 208, 209 meters away. So again, when you're doing these long distance shots, to give yourself the best chance, focus in, then draw your bow back, line up that bottom pin, hold your breath, and release. And as you see here, at 208, 209 meters, the 5th pin will give you a headshot directly in your target every time. Now, the tricky part about doing these shots is not being able to range find with your bow. So there's a couple options you have. Number one option, it's going to be probably the most efficient for everyone, is to use a rangefinder from your rifle, which is how I found these distances. So for that instance, you're just going to pull up your scope on the rangefinder, and you are going to tap your hold breath key and then hold your breath while looking at that target, and it will give you a range. If you're going to be doing this for battle purposes or hunting purposes, it's always a good idea to do it 2 or 3 times, because with your rifle sway, if there's any grass or limbs that are in your way, it may throw off the reading. So doing it a couple times will help you with that. The second option is, if you're out with a party or a squad, is to have a buddy range find for you. And the third option, which is a little bit tougher, is going to be using these pins to figure out the range. So I know when I'm up close and I'm doing a 10-meter shot, which is roughly about right here. When I pull that sight down, that head, I'm going to fit almost all the pins in that head. So it shot right in. So I know that's about 10 meters, but when you go out a little bit further, you can use that sight, use the pins, the distance between the pins to help you gauge that distance. And this is all going to come from practice. So if you have a chance to get into a non-populated server or a private server, head over to the firing range. Try to get the same sight every time and get used to the distances between the pins on the sight showing you a mark. So again, we're about 50 meters right here, and I see that that head fits inside of those 2 pins. So I'm going to go for a 50-meter shot. And I actually might have shot a little bit high on that. Nope, I did. I hit the head. So as you saw, the head fit in between 2 pins barely. So I know that's about 50 meters. Going the farther out is going to make it more difficult to gauge that distance. But just for example's sake, we're going to run out to about 100 meters. Now, when I look down this sight, I see that that sight is about 1/3 of that gap. So I'm going to go about 100 right here. And I got it dead on. Okay, now we're taking a look at the skill levels in comparison to the bows. With a 90-pound recurve on advanced, you have about 3 seconds before you start to struggle. You have a lot more time with the compound bow, which is why it is one of my favorite bows to use. You've got plenty of time to line up a correct shot. So if you have a choice, go with the compound. But if you find a strong recurve, there's nothing wrong with using them. They're very, very good bows. Now we'll take a look at medium skill level. You'll see that I've got a few less seconds with the compound bow, but still plenty of time to line up a good headshot, be able to use my pins to distance how far away my target is. And it's really a great bow, especially for your medium skill level. Whereas you see the recurve, the 90-pound recurve, you have very short time before you start to lose that ability to hold the bow back. Under basic, it's very quick. You can't even draw the 90-pound recurve all the way back before you shoot. And with the compound bow, you cannot draw back at all. So make sure you're selecting your archery skill according to how much you are going to be using these bows. So in hindsight, after making this video and watching it, I really believe the 3rd pin on the 5-pin sight is your best bet for 30 yards and under. We have a little bit more information on the archery and SCUM. I hope this video helped you guys out. If you liked it, if it gave you some tips, leave some comments down below. Let me know. Make sure you hit that like button. If you didn't like it, hit the dislike button and let me know what you'd like to see different in the next video. As you can see right here, this is the lockpick video I did. Check my video list. This will give you all the basics you need to know on lockpicking. Just remember, with the skills, you've got to have the proper skills set for what you want to do in the game. So keep that in mind when you're creating your character. Come on over, visit me on twitch.tv/originaltech, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. We do some special streams here and there. We've got a private server that's going to be coming up pretty soon for special events. Come on over and hang out with us. I look forward to seeing you there. As always, I'm Original Tech. Much love to you, knuckleheads. Peace.